Cambridge is super unique in that you apply to a college and you don't apply to the university itself. And I didn't really have any idea at all where I was going to end up going. I went to the open day and I had a look around a couple of different colleges, and Corpus really stood out to me. I think the size was the main thing. It's a small college, the second smallest, I think, which means it has this super friendly atmosphere. The perspective I got was that you were just going to be able to know everyone. And to be honest, that's basically been my experience, that I do know effectively all of the freshers. I can have a conversation with them. I know quite a few second and third years as well.
I chose Corpus because it's a really central college. You couldn't really get much more central, which I thought would be helpful because I don't really cycle. So for me, that was something that I really needed. But obviously, if you can cycle, further afield colleges are great. And also, I was quite keen to go to a college that was quite old, just because I thought it was quite pretty. It was quite a surface reason, and obviously that shouldn't be like your sole reason, but it's as good a one as any, really. Also, maybe consider about what subjects you're going for and where your lectures might be. So for me, I'm 10 minutes away from the Downing site, which is where a lot of geography and natural sciences have their lectures, so that was really helpful being there. So you can get to lectures really quickly. And yeah, that was the main thought process that I went through. Obviously, Corpus is a really small college, which I know some people really liked when they were applying, because you can get to know people and there's a really strong sense of community. For me, I was open to the big or little colleges, but I'm really relieved, and I think it's
So, extracurricular wise, I wish I did more. And in fact, this is very weird. I had a dream which has now inspired me to take like piano lessons next year. So I think I want to do that. This year I didn't do enough, and I wish I did more like interesting things. So I took part in ACS, which was just a way for people from like similar backgrounds culturally to be in the same space, really, and like do like different kind of fun events. But there's no like, because I'm not on the committee, there's no like skills that I'm necessarily exhibiting or bringing forward to the whole society. But that was fun, and I do recommend that for anyone from Afro-Caribbean backgrounds. But yeah, that is a good society generally. But if in terms of like wanting to show off your skills, I wish I did something like an instrument, or if you're interested in it, drama. I did football for a bit with the college team, and that meant training every week, playing a game every week as well. So there was like you were involved in football, you were doing some kind of football twice a week. So but there is like, at most institutions there is a like massive range of things that you can get involved in, and if there isn't, you can go and then set up your own society, and then that would show a lot of, you know, initiative and stuff like that. So yeah, that's what I did.
Just talking about kind of outside of academic life, the main way I've made friends is through my college. So it's got a really lovely community feel, because the size is a lot smaller than other colleges. We only have about 90 to 100 first years, which is just really lovely because you do get to know everybody by name. You get to know what subjects they're doing, but also living with people and, you know, having all your meals with people. It can be a really nice way of getting a friendship group around you really quickly, which I feel like when you're going into Freshers Week can be really daunting. So that was something really that I was grateful for. But then Corpus as well has kind of communities within it. So because of the JCR, we've got like gender equalities events that happen with it's called the Issuewood Agenda. So they discuss like literature by women and non-binary people. And I think that's a really nice sort of community within a community that yeah, I think is really lovely. We also have LGBT events, BAME events as well, and obviously they do have university level events that go on as well, but having that opportunity to have something within Corpus, I think is really great, because it can be less scary than kind of going to a university event where you might not know many people, and it's a way of kind of meeting people within your college where you have a similar interest, or you know, you want to pursue a college sport maybe at higher level. It can be a good place to meet people, and then go on to pursue it at a university level if you want to, but equally if you don't. So for me, I'm not very sporty, but I really wanted to try rowing because it's, you know, it's the Cambridge thing to do, and I was really bad at it, so I think the idea of pursuing it at university level would just be silly, but being able to do it at a college level where it's not as serious, where, you know, it's smaller groups, was really great and really fun. Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay, so I had the same exact concerns that probably every person. I mean, university is a very scary, big place to go into, but let alone an institution with such a, like, you know, historical context and like social presence like Cambridge has. So I came from a state school myself, and Cambridge is known for having such like a much higher proportion of non-state school people than like any other university in the UK, and that brings a lot of, like, as you can imagine, that means from the outset pretty much me and another person who's been educated in a certain way have experienced different things culturally, you know, just general life things have been different, which would make me think, okay, maybe I can't relate with them, maybe friendship would be a bit awkward and all that stuff. But that, for me, on the most part, is really not the case. And I also thought that not going into an institution which is overwhelmingly white and being few black students or non-white students would be a whole thing to navigate as well. I mean, this year ACS got with the works of the committee and all that stuff, they got in, like, the amount of people, the amount of black students that are getting in are like accelerating every single year. So that ACS is so necessary, like, so, you know, significantly a place where you can go and find, to some extent, like-minded people and people from similar backgrounds and all that stuff. So that, I feel like, is very reassuring. But at the same time, within college, I think Corpus is quite a nice community where those, I was always being reminded that those class differences and just differences within people felt so much less pronounced in Corpus. And I remember a couple of weeks in, and it was like, people are just funny and they're just nice and they're just easy to talk to. Like, there's no talk of, on the most part, there's no awkward feelings of racism or classism, on, like, overwhelmingly the most part. So at the end of the day, well, honestly, like, I really feel like what Corpus is very clichéingly drilled in is that it really doesn't matter where you're from or who your parents are and all this stuff. At, like, the root of it, we all bleed the same blood, and just because someone had, like, a different, you know, socioeconomic standing, that, oh no, I won't be able to talk to them, you probably will. Like, it's really never that deep. So yeah, on the most part, fitting in was definitely a big concern of mine, but I feel almost silly for thinking that. I mean, at the end of the day, now I have a greater range of friends, and it's only taught me that anyone has the ability to almost make friends with anyone as long as both parties are willing, as long as both parties are nice. I've learned a lot of things from other people being here myself, about just, you know, the art of conversation and, you know, just general life experiences. So it has been very interesting. It's been different, but not as different as I would think it would be. There have been, like, some cases where it's like, oh, I can't relate, but that doesn't happen very often, and that can happen in many friendship groups. And there's still the same feeling of transparency and I can talk to this person for hours kind of vibe that you have with any of your friends, regardless of the color of their skin or the social class that they belong in. So all that stuff was generally a concern of mine, but it's far from the back of my head, far in the back of my head now. So, yeah.
So there's a lot of pastoral support available, as well as the academic side that comes from the Director of Studies. So at Corpus and at most colleges, you'll have a tutor who is someone that's probably not from your subject or your department. So they'll be a completely independent person that's also affiliated to your college, who you can go to and talk about pastoral issues, your well-being, any issues with finance. They can be a really good person to get in contact with first, because it can be difficult to know who to contact about what issues. So your tutors, you're really your first port of call for that. So that's the kind of in-college support. So you'll be given a tutor, but you can also access support from, we have a college counsellor. We also have a college nurse who's really helpful, because it can be sometimes difficult getting a doctor's appointment. And she's a really great person to go and talk to about any kind of issues with your physical health that you're experiencing. But then also there's university level support as well, and we're really lucky at Corpus. We're really close by to the University Counselling Service and the Disability Resource Centre, which have loads of really great resources for disabled students or people with specific learning difficulties like dyslexia or dyspraxia. So that's a really great resource that is kind of on site because it is so close. Also the careers advice, which they put out so much information, that's all really close to Corpus as well. So that's kind of a bonus about being so central. Yeah. So the accommodation at Corpus is really, really great, because you're kind of guaranteed a room for the 3 years that you're there. So you don't have to worry about getting a private landlord or anything like that. So in your first year, you will probably be living either in college or in blocks of accommodation that are within a stone's throw of main college. So it's really nice to be able to get to know people and also be really close to the main site. So you're not, out on your own 20 minutes away. Everyone's within 30 seconds of college. But then second year you can sort of live a bit further afield, but that's all in college accommodation still. So there's some accommodation over near Newnham College over the river, but then there's also some up the road. So it's kind of whatever you want. But some people also do choose to live in college for the full 3 years. And then third year, people tend to move back into college as well. So it's a really nice way of maintaining community, because everyone does live so close. And yeah, I think that's been something I've really enjoyed about Corpus.